Compost manure preparation documentary. Organic fertilizers are fertilizers delivered from all decomposed organic matter, maybe from animals, animal droppings, or plant materials. Using organic fertilizers is very important for the farmers because it helps to minimize cost for production, since it can be easily prepared by the farmers themselves using the materials which are locally available around their farms. Organic fertilizers helps in soil conservation and also contributes in environmental protection and also provides the farmers with non-toxic food because the food items produced are free of harmful chemicals. As a result, the end consumer who eats these organic products are less prone to diseases such as cancer, strokes, and skin disorders as compared to those who consume food items produced using chemical fertilizers. The three main types of organic manures are: first, compost manure; second, farmyard manure; and third, green manure. Compost manure is the mixture of decayed or decaying organic matter used to fertilize the soil. Compost is usually made by gathering plant materials like leaves, grass clippings, and vegetable peels into a pile or bin and let them decompose as a result of the action of aerobic bacteria, fungi, and other organisms. The biggest advantage of using compost is that the organic matter in compost is partially decayed, so its volume is much lower. Furthermore, the microorganisms' activity has started in the compost already, so the concentration of these microorganisms is very high. This makes the compost a concentrated and easy to absorb source of organic matter for the growing plants. Today, the field extension officers from Caritas Tabora will facilitate the farmer groups to prepare compost. The first step during compost preparation is site selection. And today the farmers themselves selected a site, carefully considering the criterion that the place must be under shade to protect the compost pile from direct sunlight and rainfall. After site selection, the materials required for compost preparation were collected and gathered. The size of a compost pile will depend on the amount of the materials prepared. The compost pile should consist of 70% dry materials and 30% fresh or green materials. Dry grasses and cereal plant residues were prepared as dry materials. Green and fresh leaves and grasses were prepared as green materials. Farmyard manure does not look green, but in compost preparation is considered as green material because of its nitrogen content. Decomposing materials in the compost pile can become somewhat acidic, and so the fireplace ashes can be used to help maintaining the condition of the compost. In some groups, the fireplace ashes containing some charcoal particles were locally crushed into fine and soft ash powder. The prepared materials, especially dry grasses and plant residues, are also being chopped into small pieces of 10 to 15 centimeters for easier decomposition. After the required materials are already prepared, a simple shallow ditch is dug to prevent a loss of fertilizers from the pile by surface runoff water. The long pole is then inserted at the center of a ditch, which will be used to measure the temperature of our compost pile after 3 days. The ditch is then watered to make the soil moist at the favorite environment for some bacteria and fungi activities. Firstly, the dry maize stalks were arranged well on the soil in a way that oxygen will penetrate easily into a pile. Some small dry plant branches may be used as an alternative to dry maize stalks. The dry grasses were put on top. Followed by fresh green grasses and soft plant leaves. Green leguminous plants are highly recommended for their high nitrogen content. If you are preparing your compost pile during the dry season, don't forget to water the materials first and keep them moist during the whole process. For the first time, the work may be seen tiresome, that the elders had to rest and get refreshed for a while. But no worry, they'll be back to work. Some farmyard manure was poured on top, just enough amount to cover the layer, maybe 3 to 5 centimeters. Cow dung, chicken manure, or manure delivered from any domesticated animal can be used. The layer was then followed by fireplace ashes.
Msichanganye na mbolea ni majivu.
And on top of the ashes layer, poured some all-horizon soil, the dark organic soil, usually black, found under old big mango trees, the most fertile ones, for just the same amount, 3 to 5 centimeters deep. After that last layer of the pile, some water was poured on top just to moisturize the entire pile.
Kwa nini tunaweka maji? Unyevu unasaidia nini?
After the first pile was completed, the materials were arranged again in the same sequence to make another pile on top of the first one. The process continued until they were out of the materials. The good height of a compost pile may range from 1 to 1.5 meters. As the height increases, the more compost quality increases.
Basi nimefanana, samahani mwanangu. Nilidhani huyu hapa mama mwanne.
The compost pile was then covered well with plastic and some nylon materials to prevent it from rainfall and direct sunlight.
Mbona unajua?
Naweka masanzu baba.
After 3 days, it is a time to measure the temperature of a pile. Oh my God, it's very hot, which means the decomposition of the materials has started and proceeding well. Five days after preparing a compost pile, the farmers are now required to turn the pile in order to increase and fasten the decomposition rate. canning of the materials will be done after every 5 days of the first month and only twice in the second month. And after those 2 months, our compost manure is expected to be ready.